There are many stories of faith gone wrong, but few are as shocking as this one. This documentary explores how a once-inspiring preacher built a movement that promised hope, equality, and unity, only for it to end in one of the most heartbreaking tragedies in American history. What began as a dream of peace turned into a story of control, fear, and blind devotion. Before you dive into the story, please subscribe to our channel so that we keep creating more stories. Jim Jones of the 1950s wasn't the monster he would become. No, he started as something very different. He was a young preacher in Indianapolis, Indiana, with a vision that actually seemed noble. Picture America in the 1950s. Segregation, division, hatred openly displayed on street corners and in schools. Now imagine walking into a church where black and white families sat side by side, where they sang together, prayed together, where the doors were open to everyone, regardless of the color of their skin. That was Jim Jones's People's Temple. And it was revolutionary. He didn't just preach, he acted. His soup kitchens fed the hungry. Shelter was provided for the homeless. Jones spoke with passion about equality, about justice, about creating a better world. People were drawn to him like moths to a flame. How could they not be? He seemed to be everything a spiritual leader should be. But there was something else happening. Something darker beneath the surface. First came the claims of healing powers. He would stage elaborate performances where sick people would suddenly be cured. His followers gasped in wonder. They called it a miracle. Then came the prophecies. Jones claimed he could see the future, that God spoke through him directly. And then, the final transformation. Jones declared that he wasn't just a messenger of God. He was God himself. Think about that for a moment. By the 1960s, hundreds of people had surrendered everything to Jim Jones. Their money flowed into his accounts. Their trust became absolute. Their very identities dissolved into his vision. Families who had once been independent were now completely dependent on him for guidance, for truth itself. But then the questions began. Former members started speaking out. Stories of abuse, of beatings, of psychological torture. The media in California began investigating. The walls were closing in on Jones's carefully constructed paradise. He made the decision to move away from the attention. He wanted a place where people won't easily have access, and he found a perfect choice. Guyana, a tiny nation in South America covered in dense jungle. Jones leased land and made a promise to his followers. We will build paradise together, away from persecution, away from racism, away from the corruption of America. They called it Jonestown, and to the outside world it looked like a dream come true. But dreams can become nightmares. Life in Jonestown was brutal. People worked until their hands bled. From sunrise to sunset, they cleared land, planted crops, built structures. Meanwhile, Jones lived in relative comfort. While his followers ate meager rations, he dined well. While they slept in crowded dormitories, he had privacy. And escape was impossible. Armed guards patrolled the perimeter day and night. The jungle itself was a prison, dense and dangerous. Even if someone managed to slip away, where would they go? They were miles from the nearest town in a foreign country with no money and no resources. Jones's paranoia grew like a cancer. He saw enemies everywhere, conspiracies in every shadow. He forced his followers to attend meetings that stretched on for 6, 8, sometimes 12 hours. People were exhausted, broken. Children were taken from their parents and raised communally, destroying family bonds that might compete with loyalty to Jones. And then came the drills. The White Night drills. In the night when everyone was sleeping, Jones' voice cracked through. He cried that the enemies had found them. That they needed to do just one thing. Guards bring out a vat of liquid. You're told it's poison. You're told that death is the only option. That dying together with dignity is better than being captured and tortured by your enemies. You watch your neighbors drink. You drink. The liquid is bitter. You wait for death. And then Jones speaks again. That was a test. The liquid was harmless, but I needed to know who among you is truly loyal. This happened over and over again. People's minds were being rewired. The line between life and death, between reality and Jones's twisted fantasies, was dissolving. He was preparing them, training them. For what was coming, November 1978, a congressman named Leo Ryan received troubling letters from families. Their loved ones were in Jonestown and they couldn't contact them. Something was very wrong. Ryan decided to investigate himself. He arrived in Jonestown with reporters, cameras, and concerned family members. Jones greeted them with smiles and open arms. He gave them a tour. Look at our farms, look at our school. Look at how happy everyone is. But beneath the surface, desperation was brewing. Followers slipped notes to the visitors when guards weren't looking. Notes that said simply, "Help us, please. Get us out." By November 18th, Congressman Ryan had seen enough. He was leaving and taking 16 people with him. 16 people who had found the courage to escape, but Jones couldn't allow it. If they escaped, they would tell the truth. His empire of control would crumble. At the airstrip, as the small planes prepared for takeoff, a tractor trailer appeared. Armed men leaped out. Gunfire erupted. Congressman Ryan was shot point blank in the face. 4 others fell dead. Cameras captured everything, even as the cameraman himself was gunned down, his finger still on the record button. Back in Jonestown, Jones knew it was over. There would be consequences now. Investigations. Arrests. The world would see what he had done. So he gathered his followers one final time. Over 900 people assembled, and this time Jones told them this was not a drill. "They'll come for us now." His voice echoed through the settlement. "They'll torture our children. They'll destroy everything. We must take our own lives with dignity. Revolutionary suicide. We'll die together, and we'll be at peace." A giant metal tub was filled with poison. Cyanide mixed with sedatives, tranquilizers, and grape-flavored drink powder to mask the taste. The adults would drink. The children would be given syringes, the poison squirted directly into their mouths. Mothers were ordered to poison their own babies first. Some others refused. Guards with guns and crossbows made them comply. The children died first, convulsing, crying. The sounds of their suffering filled the air. And Jones kept talking through the loudspeakers, his voice eerily calm. "Don't be afraid. It's just like going to sleep. We're going to a better place." Adults lined up. Some walked willingly to their death, their minds so completely controlled they believed this was salvation. Others tried to run but were forced to drink at gunpoint. One by one, they collapsed. Families died together. Friends fell beside friends. The poison worked quickly, but not painlessly. Bodies convulsed. People clutched at their throats. Within minutes, hundreds lay dead or dying across the settlement. Children who had been playing that morning. Parents who had hoped for a better life. All gone. When it was finally over, when the screams faded to silence, 909 people were dead. 304 of them were children. Some were just infants. The youngest was just 1 year old. Jim Jones was found among them, a bullet in his head. Whether he took his own life or someone else ended it for him, we'll never know. The images from Jonestown shocked the world. Aerial photographs showed bodies scattered everywhere, lying where they had fallen. Families holding each other in death. A community that had sought paradise and found only horror. For years afterward, the phrase, "drinking the Kool-Aid," entered our language. Though it was actually flavor aid used in the massacre. The phrase became shorthand for blind obedience. For following someone to your own destruction. But Jonestown was more than just a cautionary tale about cults. It showed us how easily faith can be weaponized. How charisma can mask evil. How people seeking belonging and purpose can be manipulated by someone who sees them as nothing more than pawns. Jim Jones didn't start as a monster. He started as a preacher who spoke about love and equality. But somewhere along the way, power corrupted him completely. He began to believe his own lies. He surrounded himself with yes-men and armed guards. He isolated his followers from reality until his word became their only truth. And when his empire began to crumble, when he could no longer maintain the illusion of paradise, he chose to take everyone with him into darkness. November 18, 1978 remained the deadliest single day of American civilian deaths until September 11, 2001. Over 900 lives erased, families destroyed, children who never had a chance to grow up. Jonestown stands as a haunting reminder. Question everything, even faith, even leaders who seem righteous. Because the wrong person with the right words can lead hundreds to their deaths. And they'll convince them it's salvation. If you want more shocking true crime documentaries like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss an upload.